Welcome back to another episode of How Did They Grow? I created this podcast because I wanted you to learn how other coaches, freelancers, service providers, and course sellers are growing their business, landing 10 to 20 new clients every single month, paying them 50, 100, 200K months. See, if they've done it, you can too. And that's just the reality. And I want you to listen to these podcasts to understand what strategies are they using, what techniques are they exploring, because it's in these gems that you can apply it to your business and actually scale things up. When you're ready and you feel like you actually want to learn practical, proven methodologies, or even you want to hire a team that can build you a profitable personal brand, book in a chat with our team because we can guarantee you go viral and guarantee you get clients for your business.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am so pleased to introduce to you Jonathan Pierce, who is here with me, an incredibly successful SaaS seller and consultant who made over $4 million a year. Jonathan, how are you doing today? I'm so glad to have you on.
I'm fantastic. Let me put my money away. Hold on. Let me get it off screen here.
I'm so glad you made some time to talk to us today. So please do me the honor. Start us off by telling our listeners more about what you do, what you've been doing in the past year, perhaps, maybe how you got into sales, and how did you generate so much success and so much revenue for a company?
Oh gosh, that's a lot to unpack. I guess let's start with where I'm at right now. I'm the CEO of Cloud Sales Coach. You can check me out at cloudsalescoach.com. I provide one-on-one sales coaching for, executives, the whole sales team. You need to, as a startup, you need to get off the ground with three pillars. The first is sales, right? You need money coming in. And the best way to do that and to have a good looking company is to have your branding and marketing together. So that's the second pillar, is looking good, sounding good. And then of course you need the right tech. A lot of people, give me outreach, give me LinkedIn, give me, they need to get the tools. But some of those tools are falling off, right? You've got to stay current with tools. So get your sales, get your marketing, get some tech strategy for your startup. That's what I'm doing now. And I've been helping companies that are either pre-seed or seed funded startups. I've got a $45 million Series D company. I've got a $12 million Series A. I've got a Global 2000 company evaluated at $250 million, that's receiving my consulting and coaching. So that's what I'm doing now. I hope I checked that box for you. Any questions for you? Dive into what I've done the last year.
Absolutely. Those are some impressive numbers. Thank you for sharing that. So this might be a bit of a difficult one to answer, but can you tell our listeners, how did you even get yourself into this position? What triggered this from the beginning?
Oh, yeah. I think I got a job because I was trying to, be a famous rock star. And I think I got a job at State Farm doing some cold calling maybe, 13 years ago. And to be honest with you, they were impressed with my cold calling right out of the gate. I just have an innate ability to connect with people very fast. And fast forward, trying different sales roles out after I got that success there, I actually got into IT. I've always kind of been tech minded, but I got into IT and, the sales were there too. Initially someone was like, "Hey, come be our VP of sales." I'm like, all I've done is cold call, I think you got the wrong guy. But people saw that in me, sometimes when I didn't see it in myself. So I thank all those people who believed in me. But ultimately, I did get better at what I was doing, hone my craft, and I became the director of business development for an IT firm. And even though it was great, I was so excited. Like I mentioned before, 2 weeks in, they're like, "Hey, Jonathan, we're going bankrupt. If you we've been in business 20 years. And we haven't had any sales in 5 years. We've tried so many salespeople and they can't even sell IT." And I was like, oh my gosh, well, I had to think about it for a minute, but I stuck around. I got them out of the hole. I brought in 400,000 in sales. I cut a bunch of costs. They gave me free reign and autonomy to do it. And that's where I first admitted, like, gosh, maybe I do have this versatile business knowledge and skill. And maybe I should, package that and be a consultant. But at the same time, I said, I probably need some more experience than just this one company. So I moved on to another company, became the number one seller there in 30 days. I helped them re-gear and mesh their sales and marketing together because they're very siloed. The two directors of sales and marketing didn't talk to each other. So I've seen those situations. And then I moved on to another sales company where I was number one in 30 days of, as an account executive. And then I joined another company. It was an MSP, and I closed $750,000. That's $750,000 in my first quarter. So most people are lucky to hit like 200,000 their first quarter. But that understanding comes from, I know tech, I can talk tech, and I can talk sales. And most people just don't have that combination. So that's how I've been very lucky and fortunate and blessed to, learn very quickly. So that's how I packaged this. After working in several companies, several industries, I said, okay, it's time to open my own business. So that's where we are right now.
Absolutely. Wow. Well done and well deserved for sure. And that perseverance. What kind of time period are we looking at?
As far as the IT success, or just from the State Farm till now, are you saying, or what?
State Farm till now, from the real start.
Yeah, that's 13 years. 2012 is when I first started, and I actually came back to State Farm, and I was looking to be an agent just because COVID happened. Everything was up in the air, and I knew State Farm was solid. They're a multi-billion-dollar company, and I even closed $250,000 there. Wrote 550 policies for all the agents in the world, insurance agents, or anybody who's worked in insurance. Those are big numbers, and I was number one in the Chicago area. So again, number one, you see a theme, you gotta, have some skills. But I think the number one thing that people need to dig into is their behaviors. How do you carve up your calendar and maximize the effectiveness of your day? That's where it happens.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. So Cloud Sales Coaching, you started this, honing your talent, all of this experience and all of the success, all these numbers. You obviously, like you said, you have the tech, you have the sales. Who is Cloud Sales Coaching for? Who are you reaching out to?
Yeah, I always had a heart for small businesses and startups, right? The world dreams of getting VC funding, so they're just instant millionaires overnight. But the people who can't get VC funding, right, they hire their salespeople. Those salespeople are frustrated. Right? When you join a startup and you've never been in sales and you're just trying to get a job and you start in sales, how many people leave sales because they're not properly trained? They don't have support from, these small businesses that can't afford to train people, or they don't have sales leadership to coach them. They just yell at them, say, call, get on the phone, call. But they don't have a good coach, right? So that's what Cloud Sales Coach is here to help those small startups. Maybe they're hiring their first salesperson. Maybe they need a salesperson. We can help with that too. We have fractional sales reps that I coach. But, those salespeople that need coaching and they want to be successful, and they just don't either have good leadership, or leadership doesn't have time on their calendar to run the business and coach you. That's what the one-on-one sales coaching is for. Those salespeople and those startups. Coach your sales pipeline. We'll help you grow a funnel, help you grow your team, and we do that from beginning to end.
Wow, that's really great. I love that so much. And how are you doing that? How are you looking to attract these clients and acquire your clients, these small businesses, these small sales reps? How are you doing that?
Yeah, right now, honestly, great opportunity is a podcast like this where, I can share some of the successes. I've had several, VC funded companies, Series A through D, reach out going, hey, Jonathan, I saw you on podcasts here, or I saw your YouTube interviews. Let me learn from you. Are you coaching? They ask me if I'm coaching. Well, yeah, that's what the name of the company is. I'm here to coach the individual, the startup founder, the whole team. That's what I'm doing. So people are finding me on the web, and hopefully if they find me, they're listening right now, they'll say, Christelle, what is Jonathan's email? Just go to cloudsalescoach.com, hit book us, and you'll meet with me right away.
Amazing. Yeah, absolutely. I can, totally relate. So would you say that your clients right now have been more word of mouth referrals from, the companies that you've worked for? They'd be like, you absolutely have to talk to Jonathan. He's insane. He's just so smart. He'll close deals for you in a month or less.
Yeah, I think right now, I just met with somebody this morning. He's following me on LinkedIn. It's like, man, I love all the success you're doing. And we went to the same college. So I went to Auburn University in America, and there's a big network of people that are there. So he reached out saying, I want to coach with you, coach me. But always looking for new avenues. And that's kind of why I linked up with you guys. You guys look like you've got a really good, service where you're growing people's social media. And that is imperative these days. I don't know how people
Absolutely.
grow their brand without people like you out here.
I mean, it's tough. It's tough out there. Social media is obviously free, mostly free. So competition is super, super high. So you need to have a team, you need to have the expertise, you need to be on it basically 24/7. And it can be really tough to do it by yourself, which is why we're here to help people and businesses like you, get the eyes, because you have the expertise. You're obviously the expert in this room. You know what you're doing, and you don't need anyone telling you how to do that, but you might need, the support on creating the content, putting it out there, and having an actual strategy that's backed by, research and studies, and just kind of keeping track of trends and things like that. But it'd be interesting to know if you have any goals for social media. Are you looking to build like a personal brand? Or are you looking to mostly just build the business brand as is? Do you have any numbers in mind? It would be really great to know where you are now and where you want to be and how you think you're going to do that.
I hope you're enjoying this podcast. I hope you're taking notes. I hope you're learning so much practical wisdom, because that's what I really wanted from this podcast. Now, I just want to quickly say, if you're looking for a team that can actually help you explode and go viral with your personal brand with proven methodologies, I say this because I've been doing this for the past 5 years. We've got a team of 30 people who are ready to go ahead and explode your brand so you can get clients begging to work with you. Have a chat with one of our advisors. You can book in a chat using one of the links around this video, because that chat might just change your life.
Yeah, sometimes people will listen to me and go, "Oh, well, Jonathan, you can't do it all. What? You can't do your social media and this." Listen, I wake up at 5. I've got 3 kids. I got a life, and work-life balance is why I got in business. So I do hire experts to handle certain things. I've got a website guy. Even my marketing and branding is a company that I partnered with to handle, their video messaging and experiential training, like virtual training environments. I partner with a company that does that. I don't offer that. I can have a voice on that. I can talk to, the biggest company in the world when it comes to cloud security. I gave them marketing ideas and they used them. They're a Fortune 100 company, but I don't have a marketing and branding company, so I love to partner with people who are experts, because I know a real big business is built with a team, right? You can go fast by yourself, but you can't go far by yourself. That's what you need a team for. So, potentially looking to partner with your company about, all these startups that need someone to continuously run their social media. And you said one important thing, and that is it's backed by research, right? When I'm coaching someone on cold calling, I say a couple different things. One is, do you know what the best time to call is? And I usually get emptiness. Like, the research has been done. You don't have to think about things like this. It's between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. and whatever time zone you're living in. That's the number one. And it's on a Tuesday. That's statistically the highest probability that someone will answer a call. So there's going to be statistics that you guys have on social media that I don't know, because I'm not in that world. I don't live that every day. But that's why I reach out to experts like you guys.
Absolutely. That's some solid advice. That's some solid advice that I'm gonna keep a note of in my mind. 9 to 11 on a Tuesday. I had no idea. I'd love to know the actual research behind it. But now that we're talking a little bit of social media, in your opinion, how important would you say having a strong social media presence, or like a brand, really a strong brand, how important would you say on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not at all, 10 being yes, absolutely key to your business's success? How important is social media?
Yeah, to a normal business, absolutely a minimum, 6 out of 10. To my business in the world of coaching that is built on trust and, good faith, and when you're consulting a business, people need to trust you. There's so many people out there now. You've got to be able to be trusted. And the first thing we all look at is, how many followers they got? How many people are commenting? How many other people are already there? That's that innate word of mouth that, it shows. So, yeah, 10 out of 10 for that.
For sure. You're right on the dot. We do it. We do it all. We do it all for any business. And sometimes when you think about it, you're like, oh my gosh, am I being super shallow? Am I being super judgmental? But it's just the way things work nowadays. It's just like
Yep.
looking at almost a little bit like looking at reviews online, like going to a restaurant. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to check the reviews, see what people are saying. And obviously, if you go to a social media page and you see thousands, millions of followers, you're like, okay, people know who these people are. They trust them for a reason. There must be a reason behind it. You might be new to it. You might not know anything about this business, but you're like, the numbers are there. There's a reason for it. So it's just like inbuilt trust, immediate trust, and it just puts you in front of millions and millions of people's eyes, whether they're followers or just viewers, and being able to convert them into customers is absolutely key, and such an important thing to take advantage of, because like we said earlier in our conversation, social media is pretty much free. So you'd be almost, a little bit on the wrong side of things to not try and take advantage of it. But yeah, absolutely. What would you say are your main barriers or obstacles when it comes to reaching out or acquiring clients through social media right now at the moment? Is it more like you don't have time, you don't have that team?
Yeah, no, bandwidth is everything, right? And that really is, right? So I may wake up at 5 and I'll, schedule a couple posts. And then people may comment all day, right? But I'll be heads down, going full force with meetings like this, or coaching people, or working with clients, or I'm a fractional CRO for another client. So I may be working for my customers, and then I look up and it's already 2 or 3 o'clock, and dang, I missed somebody maybe 5 hours ago that commented, right? So just having people comment quickly, that's a key. Yeah, anybody out there trying to grow their business, you want to be able to show that you have the bandwidth to respond. So those are some of the things. There's a one-man shop out here, that's partnered with other companies doing the same thing, coming together.
Yeah.
That's a need.
Yeah, absolutely. And the chances of connecting and of closing when the response happens within like seconds or within the first minute of that interaction are so much higher than even 5 minutes or 10 minutes in. Because if we're all doing this through our phones, through social media, I might be scrolling on my feed, I might be, a reel of yours, an ad of yours must have come on. And if I comment and I show interest and I immediately get a response, like that interest is hot. Like the chances of closing are so much higher than, okay, I was at work all day and I didn't have the time and I was so busy with calls and I can only get to commenting at 11 at night, and that interest has just gone out the door now. But yeah, so important to take advantage of social media, especially in your space. I feel like so many sales reps, there's so much sales content, there's so many big influencers or big people, particularly on social media. I mean, I can only think of Alex Hormozi, right? Who's a huge persona in what he does, and he's built a personal brand for himself. Actually, regarding that, is there perhaps a brand or a person that you look up to a little bit or admire and kind of want to follow suit in the way they do things? It'd be interesting to know.
I think there's a lot of people who have a lot of expertise, that are in the sales arena. What I don't lean fully into, and like I think of, people that have written great books, and I think of great sales methodologies out there. What I don't see, and why I'm not going to name one specific person, because I can think of some good people. But what I don't see is when you're selling software as a service, your software, being a SaaS seller, most of the great coaches that people think of, they actually had a sales engineer in the room, right? They were just the sales component. Now, it doesn't mean they didn't know any tech, but they didn't have the final word and say when it came to authority on the tech they were selling. And I think that is a big miss. It's a big opportunity, and why I press into marrying sales and tech together. And so if I go into a room and I'm like, hey, yeah, we have, some cybersecurity product, or here's our SaaS product, like even HubSpot, if I was selling HubSpot, and I'm talking to a CIO or CTO, and they go, well, Jonathan, what's the security like for your API security when my system connects to yours, or when this bolt-on system connects to that? And you go, well, that's a really good question for my tech team. I'd like to set up a call with them and maybe capture any other questions you have. Well, you can be very buttery smooth with your words like I just was, right? And that's a valid thing. Hey, yes, I'm just a salesperson. That's just a salesperson approach has grown me in so many ways. When I dove into the tech and I became an expert at the tech, I now have a different vision of this sales pipeline. So if I pause real quick and explain, everybody's heard of MEDDIC, right? The MEDDIC sales methodology. Have you heard? You know what I'm talking about?
I haven't particularly, but
Okay.
I'm sure that our listeners have.
And anybody out there listening, and using MEDDIC, it's frustrating because your manager, your director is going, okay, did you ask these 12 questions on the discovery call? Well, asking those 12 questions are very intimate questions, right? When you first meet somebody, I don't go, hey, Christelle, what's your social security number? Or, what's your biggest fear in life? I mean, I just met you. I mean,
Absolutely, yeah.
there's a certain order of questions, right? And so when you get further along, you'd ask those, hey, I know you're really buying, so, who needs to sign off on this agreement? Or, what is your address so I can send our master service agreement over, and who needs to sign it? And like, all the things like, what's your EIN number for tax purposes, or like whatever. You get all those intimate questions. MEDDIC is trying to get you to force to do those up front. So to find out if the deal is qualified or not. So that's a horrible method to do. Now, the fact that I have the tech and I understand the sales and I've been a cold caller, that's 3 elements of a sales pipeline. And I've understood that when I'm working with somebody, when I'm partnering with a solution and we're going into a discovery call and they're forced to do MEDDIC and they're forced to try to close these deals at every month. I saw from a better point of view, because I'm in 3 stages of the sales pipeline, that asking those questions is wrong. And I've created my own sales method, not focused on doing that, but focused on connecting with people and learning their pain points in the discovery call. And that has increased how many people go through the sales pipeline. So, when I think of calling out somebody, no one is doing what I'm doing to revolutionize the whole sales pipeline with a new sales methodology. And that's why, I can think of great people I've learned some things from. But no one's trying to just make things right. There's a definite need in the sales pipeline, and it's to fix all of that. So I call it the PTV method. Anybody out there watching can go check out some videos on it, but it's the fastest way to close deals. It used to take 6 months to close a cybersecurity deal. I came in, closed 750,000 in 30 days. And I reduced the average sales cycle from, over 3 months to 45 days doing it. So that is a little nutshell on a book I have coming out. It's called The PTV Method.
Oh, great.
And hopefully somebody out there will go, hey, I'm glad I heard of Jonathan Pierce.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The PTV method. Great. Well, that's amazing. All right. So, Jonathan, what are your plans for 2025? Is this book coming out in 2025? What is perhaps your biggest goal for the year?
Yep, successfully launched the book, and have adequate social media support. And I've got a website lift coming through. Again, I partnered with a tech company. They're experts in tech. They do it every day. They can be someone's 24/7, IT support. So I've got that. I partner with the marketing branding company, looking to partner with your company for social media and just help startups go from nothing to something, right? Get a startup to 100 million in annual recurring revenue. That's what I'm here to do. I got one reached out Monday that said, hey, we're 700K. We're small, but will you work with us? I'm like, absolutely. Let's get you to 5 mil. Like first, let's focus on that. And then there's a different perspective for 5 to 15, and how to get to 20. There's different mechanisms on all those companies. I love the challenge. So that's the goal, is to meet more startups, and they can just reach out to me on my website.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That's really, really such a great message. I was going to ask if you had a final message before we say goodbye, but I thought that was great. But if there is anything else you wanted to add, perhaps a piece of advice to our listeners who are just starting off.
If you're a cold caller, you need to keep it short. You need to keep it short and pause. Let them talk. If you're an account executive, you need to connect with their pain and you need to dig deeper. That's it. I mean, you just got to dig deep into the real cause. If you're a software engineer or a sales engineer trying to help close a deal, stop telling all your features. Meet with the account executive 5 minutes before and say, hey, what was their pain? What did you learn their pain was? And only share the features that are related to that pain, because you're going to overwhelm them. You're going to confuse them, right? And that'll lose more deals. And if you're a director of sales, stop abusing discounts. Stop doing the end of month discount. Oh, Christelle, if you will just sign this month, you've got 10 days. I'll give you 40% off. Like, dude, this is our first meeting. Stop trying to marry me. Like, stop.
Stop.
You know what I
mean?
mean? This is called this. I call it discount abuse. There's directors of sales out there. Just stop abusing discounts and let your team create value based on pain, and you'll close deals faster. And all the CEOs out there, you got your comp plan that doesn't align. The SDR's comp plan doesn't align with the county executive, doesn't align with the blah, blah, blah. No, nothing aligns, so your people aren't happy and they're leaving you for that reason. If you want to deal with all these situations in your company, give me a call.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jonathan. That was so good. Perfect final message. And thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today. I can't wait to see this book come out. I can't wait to see your business grow and launch into whatever it's going to become, but it's going to be a success. I know it for sure. I truly appreciate it. Thank you, John.
Thanks, yourself. Have a great day.
Thanks, and you.
I really hope you enjoyed this podcast. I want you to go away and execute everything there is that you've learned. Now, one thing I will say is if you're in a position where you're ready to actually take things to another level, you want structured, clear guidance, you want a team that can actually help accelerate you, book in a chat with our advisors. Why? We can blow up your personal brand to attract clients begging to work with you. All you got to do is book in a chat with our advisors and we can help make it happen. Sound fair enough?